Every October, Mira waited for this day, their wedding anniversary. Aside from her birthday and Valentine's Day, Ethan had never once forgotten it. For 12 years of marriage, at least for the first 11, this day had always mattered to him. Mira followed the same ritual every year. She prepared his favorite dishes. She arranged pink roses in a vase. She placed 2 glasses on the table, filled with pomegranate juice. One for her, one for him. They never drank alcohol. So instead of wine under candlelight, they shared something sweeter, quieter, something that felt like them. Ethan always found a way to surprise her. A small gesture, a thoughtful detail, something that made her heart lift. Mira often thought she was lucky to have a husband who was gentle, attentive, and full of care. It was only in the past few months that something began to feel different. The first time Mira heard the rumor that Ethan had grown close to an intern, she didn't think much of it. They had lunch together every day, sometimes even after work. Still, she chose to believe in him. A man as warm and kind as Ethan, she told herself, was probably just being considerate, looking out for someone younger, offering guidance, the way a family member would. That was who he had always been, someone who gave comfort easily, someone who cared, and Mira convinced herself that this was nothing more than that. Mira tried to shut out every dark thought that crept into her mind. Who could possibly know him better than she did? She was the one who had lived beside him, loved him, trusted him. Then, without warning, the lights went out. The sudden darkness made her flinch. A power outage, seriously. She thought to herself as she felt her way through the room, moving toward the window. But when she looked outside, there was nothing. No streetlights, no glow from neighboring houses. Only darkness. Not a single trace of light anywhere. What was going on? Had the entire city gone dark at once? Bangkok, all of it. Mira's heart began to race. The silence around her was suffocating, so complete it made her chest tighten. She whispered a silent prayer, hoping her husband would come home soon. She hated being alone like this, alone in the dark. Then she heard it. Slow footsteps, soft, dragging slightly. Mira froze, holding her breath. The sound crept closer, step by step, until it felt like someone was already inside the room. Was it Ethan? And if it wasn't, then who was it? The thought sent a chill through her spine. Mira moved quietly, slipping behind the kitchen counter, trying not to make a sound. What should she do? What if it was a criminal, taking advantage of the blackout? Her body trembled at the thought, but Ethan loved surprising her. He did it all the time. Maybe it was him. Then a sound broke the silence. Clack. Something hit the floor. It didn't sound deliberate. It sounded careless, as if whoever had entered wasn't familiar with the room at all. That's when Mira's fear deepened. Slowly, she lowered herself to the floor. Her knees touched the cold surface as she began to crawl, reaching out in the darkness. She searched for anything she could use to protect herself. If this moment turned dangerous, her hand found the mop. She gripped the handle tightly, knuckles turning white. If the intruder had a knife or a gun, it might not help much, but it was better than having nothing at all. The dragging footsteps came closer, unsteady, hesitant. Then they stopped, right by the dining table. Mira heard the scrape of a chair being pulled back. She wanted to call out. She almost did, but fear sealed her lips. She prayed the person standing there was her husband. Please, let it be Ethan, not anyone else. Then, behind her, a flicker of light appeared. Candlelight, soft, trembling. Mira glanced sideways before slowly turning her head, and she smiled. There he was, lighting candles. Seriously, Ethan, enough with the childish surprises. What kind of criminal would bother lighting candles on a dining table? Relief washed over her. Her shoulders relaxed as she exhaled. Let's eat, she said quietly. Ethan. She walked toward the table, the candlelight shimmering across the room. The man stood there, his head lowered, his face hidden in shadow, probably trying not to laugh, she thought, planning another silly prank. Mira smiled and stepped closer, close enough to hear him speak. The words came out slow, woven together like a chant. I summon the spirit of the woman who died in this room. Come join me for this meal and reveal yourself to me. This wasn't Ethan. None of this belonged to him. So who was it? And how had he gotten into this room? Mira's eyes drifted toward the doorway. There was no door left. Only the frame remained, its edges scorched black, charred beyond recognition. Her breath caught. She looked around. The room she thought she knew was covered in burn marks. Walls blackened by fire. Furniture reduced to brittle remains. Objects twisted and dark, like lifeless stumps after a blaze. Debris was everywhere. This wasn't her home anymore. It was the aftermath of something that had already been destroyed. For the first moment, Mira was confused. She hadn't lived long enough to hear the news herself. The gas truck explosion at the intersection near her condominium, a massive tragedy, a single night that erased everything. Everyone inside the building died. Yes, including Mira. All while she was still waiting for her husband to come home and celebrate their wedding anniversary together. For an entire year, Mira had continued the same ritual, setting the table, preparing the meal, waiting for the candlelight to glow once more. She exhaled slowly for the first time. She allowed herself to accept the truth. She should have been grateful that Ethan came home late that night. At least he survived. Even if he never returned here again, not the way she had secretly hoped. Well then, since this young man had gone through the trouble of inviting her to dinner in her own room, she supposed it wouldn't hurt to accept. It would be rude not to, she thought. Mira pulled out the chair and sat down across from him. Calmly, she slid a plate of food toward the young man. Across the table, his body trembled. Tears streamed down his face, fear breaking through every breath he took. Then Mira heard it, a voice crackling through a walkie-talkie, its surface covered with a sticker that read, "Ghost Hunter." Reports came in through the static, urgent, low, controlled. Mira remained still. The candles flickered softly between them as the truth settled into the room. "The spirit is here," the voice said calmly, "right in front of you. That's why you can feel her presence. But she means no harm. Please don't panic. Don't run. Stay focused. No matter what happens, our team is on the way to help you."